Well, hello, you beautiful people. I go by Hooligan, and I am a hardcore Minecrafter. And this right here is our Season 2 Forever World. If you're a fan of that series, don't worry. We're still going strong at over 5,000 days. But why are we here today? We are kicking off a brand new one, where we are going to be spending 100 days surviving on this island that also has a pillager outpost on it. And we are not allowed to use totems of undying or sleep at all, not even during thunderstorms. Now, besides the threat of the pillagers that can spawn about on a third of the portion of the island, we also have the threat of phantoms, of thunderstorms, and of course, simply nighttime. Now, besides us just surviving, we want to make something beautiful out of this island. Now, before we get to it though, let's go over a couple more of the rules. Now, we are allowing ourselves to explore the ocean. However, we are not allowed to use boats. No, no, no. If we want to go looking for shipwrecks, monuments, ocean temples, we got to do it the old-fashioned way with our foot paddles. That's right. We have to swim, which leads us to the next thing. We cannot step our toesies on any land that is not our island. All this right here and any other land we find, we can't touch it. We can snag it from the shore. Maybe, but we're not allowed to set foot on it. Also, Endermen are not allowed to pick up blocks. I have a data pack that prevents that. Fire tick is also off. Why? Because it's really annoying and it's stupid. I hate it. And of course, we have to defeat the Ender Dragon at least by 100 days, preferably before that. Anyways, let's get this party started. All right, now, we are ready to go. We're locked in hardcore. This right here, this is our world seed if you'd like to follow along, and our data pack's installed, and our fire tick is off. Nothing else has been changed. Any other thing we have on this playthrough is purely for recording as far as mods and data packs and whatnot. Let's get going. Let the chaos begin. If you came here to see an ADHD brain hard at work in Minecraft, well, I got news for you. You are in the right place. We only have 3 days before the angry sky chickens show up, so we punch our first tree and start making our crafting table and a couple tools. We don't go ahead and make all the tools because we don't really need them. We're immediately going to get stone. And after that, we decide we just need to clear out the area and set up an area for a mine shaft. Now, will this be a permanent mine shaft? I don't really know yet. But for right now, it'll work for us. It'll work. Still on day 0 for whatever weirdo reason. Why didn't it just start on day 1? That's kind of silly. We get our first stone and make our first stone tools. And we do go ahead and make a full set because we'll probably be using these for a little bit. We make a chest just to store some stuff and reorganize. And now we need to get some food going. So we go ahead and just by the water, we set up a little planting area. Now this is not going to be our main food source, but maybe it'll come in clutch here at the beginning. But we decide we're going to jump right into the ocean and just harass some fishies for a little bit. Definitely not almost drowning in the process. Yeah, because I'm super duper good at this game. The first night is setting, and there's not much we can do up here, so we go down in our mine shaft and we start digging. We find about 4 iron and about 20 copper, nothing too crazy. And as we're digging down, we find a hole that just drops off into a ravine that we'll mess around with later. We go ahead and use that copper to make ourselves up a little bit of armor and a copper pickaxe. And we go ahead and make some charcoal as well, only to immediately, like seconds later, find a pretty decent vein of coal. But it doesn't matter, we'll use it eventually. And that's it, we are now on day 1. The entirety of day 1 is spent gathering wood and setting up a trap to hopefully, at some point, potentially capture zombie villagers. Will it work? I don't know. And you'll see here that I'm making boats. Hey, I said I can't use the boats. Doesn't mean the mobs can't. Yeah, how do you like that for a loophole? And we get our first iron. Finishing off the nighttime back in the mines, we get a fair bit more iron, which we'll use to make a shield, an axe, and a pickaxe. We are not making iron armor. No, we're going to try to completely forego that step. And we go ahead and clear out the mobs that were spawning during the night because we are now in day 2. There weren't too many, just a couple zombies. And we decided, you know what? We're feeling pretty good. Let's go exploring. And we spot a shipwreck. And also, we get attacked by a bunch of pillagers. Yeah, a late game, pillagers are an absolute joke. Early game, they are a significant threat. They're also very, very stupid, and they will just shoot each other in a line. Kind of like a conga line, except, you know, with arrows. But anyways, we take them out, and we go exploring this shipwreck. And it is an absolute win. The first chest, not so much. But the second one, we get pumpkins, potatoes, and moss. That is a win. And of course, we got to set up our new potato farm, and we got a map that we can't use, so we just go ahead and chuck it. It's kind of sad. It would have been good stuff. And we add a chest plate to our armor. Nighttime again, and our mob trap still hasn't caught anything that we really want, so we head back down to the mines with a water bucket and a fresh pickaxe, and now we are looking for diamonds. So we head down the ravine that we found earlier, and it was actually fairly safe, but there was really nothing down here that we really cared about. So we start digging again, collecting up the beautiful tough block as we go. Oh, it's one of my favorite blocks in the game, as well as some other random resources that also give us a little bit of levels. We make ourselves our little base that we can just drop stuff off at, and what do we find a couple blocks away after we set up the base? We find our first diamonds, a pretty big vein. A few more blocks to the north, we find another vein of diamonds, as well as a couple little solos along the way. Now, our luck right now is absolutely stupid. Will it stay this way? I highly doubt it. I never find diamonds this easy, but we're feeling pretty good right now. We run into a little lava, and we decide, hey, I want to see what's on the other side of this lava, so we decided to bridge across it. Now, we don't find anything across it, but while we're digging over to it, we find more diamonds. Yeah, we're feeling good. Let's get out of here. Up towards the surface, we realize it's not quite daytime yet, so we use this time to gather up a few resources. And when we emerge from our hole, everybody is so warm and kind and inviting. No, just kidding. Everything that could want to kill me, it's all here right now. Like, we're missing, I think, an enderman. Everything else that could spawn and try to kill me, they're all here. The witch in particular is stupidly annoying. I hate witches in Minecraft. I really do. They're just frustrating. I don't think I've ever died to one, but oh, they have annoyed me many times. The poison itself probably wouldn't have killed me because you can't actually die from poison, but a stray hit from anything else, well, it would have. However, our mob loot, we come out with some pretty good stuff. So all in all, I'm going to say it was a success. Yeah, success. Midday, day 4, and our trap's got a couple things. I don't really need that creeper. I was hoping it would trap a zombie villager. But one thing's for sure, though, we're feeling a lot better with our chest plate. We could use our diamonds to make some more armor, but I'm not worried about it right now. Food's more important, and also, we're going to have to find some cows. Hopefully there's some on this island. I don't know how else I'm going to get the leather if I don't find them on this island. And we need to find some sugarcane as well. So let's look around the island and see what we can come up with. There's some piggies. I really could use their meat because I only have 4 pieces of bread. But if that's the only ones, I don't want to kill them. You guys live for now, because I do have potatoes. There is sugarcane at the Pillager outpost. Yeah, we're feeling okay. And more emergency food. I don't want to get into a big brawl here, though. Turns out they don't really care if I want to fight or not. This is happening. But whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Also, it really annoys me that these guys don't drop arrows. Like, they use arrows. Why can't I use their arrows? That would be pretty sweet if they did, because it'd be easier to get arrows from them than skeletons, honestly. We steal their hay bales, and we head up to the top, and we get a big score here. We get carrots, and we get some string, enough to make a bow, and that is a big deal, because, well, I really prefer to have a bow. It's my preferred weapon, actually, over a sword or an axe. We add the carrots and our sugarcane to our collection. With a decent amount of supplies, we set off on the mission of getting full diamond armor. Now, do we wish we had fortune? Yes, but we still have no cows. Like, where are all the cows? Anyways, we get to digging, and we end up coming across a lava lake, and we spot a couple diamonds, but more importantly, we need obsidian anyways, so we decide we're going to get all the obsidian. Okay, so maybe not all the obsidian, but at least enough to make a nether portal and an enchanting table if we can find a stupid book. We spend the next entire day just digging for diamonds along the chunk borders. I believe, in my opinion, it gives you the better chance because only a certain amount of diamonds can generate per chunk. So if you're coming to intersections of 4 chunks, wouldn't it be more likely that multiple diamonds could spawn on all those chunk borders? I don't know. I think it works. Do I know for sure? No, but that's just the way I like to do it. I don't always do it that way. Sometimes I just branch off and do whatever. But anyways, as we get to doing this, we're not just looking for diamonds. We're looking for redstone, lapis, gold, anything else that we can really use. And we come out okay in the diamond category. However, we're going to come back down here later when we have fortune, if we can ever get a stupid enchanter. I really don't like being unenchanted. Like, I don't like it. I want my stuff to be sparkly. Come on, I want to sparkle. All of day 6 was spent clearing land and collecting wood, so we can kind of get an idea of how we're going to build in the future. We still have quite a while before we start building, though. We just got too many other little micromanagement things we have to do. And as nighttime approaches, the demon stingrays finally emerge to harass the crap out of us. And we're kind of just getting a feel of how annoying these guys are going to be. Are we going to be able to build during nighttime? Now, I'll spoil something right now. Eventually, we will be able to. But until we get a certain little friend, a certain little pet, it's going to be very, very hard. So I just spend the night fighting these guys off. I don't know why. I just felt like it was something to do. Could have I used my time more wisely in the mines? Yeah, I could have. And honestly, in hindsight, I probably should have. Because this didn't prove very useful, like, at all. Day 7, and we're preparing for the future, planting our carrots, our potatoes, and doing a bunch of other chores. Now, these crops here, they're not for us. They're for a potential zombie villager that will cure later, that we can guarantee we can make them have potato and carrot trades if we roll them enough times. It's guaranteed emeralds and levels. It's going to take a lot of crops, though. We also go ahead and gather up our piggies so we can get a better food source, as well as potentially more levels later if we, decide to just slaughter a large herd of them. We gather up some trees, and then nighttime hits, and in between attacks from the angry birds, we do a few more chores. We light up the area and just start gathering things we can use later. Now, right now, the birds are fairly manageable, so we just go ahead and keep expanding our sugarcane because not only can we use that for books if we can find some cows, but we can also trade paper to librarians. Just every little thing that will add up later is definitely going to make a difference because we're in some trouble. Day 8, and things are starting to feel a bit rough. Our food supply, at least any of significance, is almost gone. Wheat is not holding up, and the carrots and potatoes just do not heal fast enough. Now, we should have just jumped in the ocean and went fish hunting, but we didn't think of that at the time. So with only one piece of bread and getting attacked yet again, we decided to jump in our hole. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. Our shield's almost broke, and we're almost out of food. We might have to wait out this night. But while we do, maybe we can find some iron to make a new shield. We find ourselves a bit of iron to make a new shield, and that's exactly what we do. But we're already down here, and we have about 8 or 9 minutes anyways. We decided we're just going to go hunt for resources. It's the logical thing to do, and we come out okay. We get ourselves some copper, we find some coal, and we find a bit more iron. Nothing sufficient, but enough to get us by for a while. Now, I will say that shenanigans, they're about to go off. As we exit the cave, for whatever reason, this creeper just decides to blow up. I have no idea why, but he ruined my trap. Day 9 was not all that exciting. We spent the day just planting crops, harvesting crops, and doing a few chores. We chop a few more trees, just working on getting them all gone. That way we can replant them where we want them. Because there's just too many right now. We expand our sugarcane farm. Eventually we'll have an auto farm, but for right now, this will do. We start breeding up our piggies so we can have an actual good food supply. And then the screamers come out. But instead of hiding in a cave, we just decide to deal with them and stay on the move while we continue to try to mob-proof the areas we don't want anything to spawn in. Day 10 was a pretty fun one, actually. We make ourselves a diamond sword and we decide to head off into the ocean. By the way, you see all those icebergs over there? Remember those for later. They'll play a significant part in some troubles we have. We don't go on the land, but they do cause some problems for us. And we start hunting some fishies. And we're not just hunting fishies, we're going to explore the areas around our island. We find another shipwreck with a trim and a clock. I thought the clock would be a lot more helpful than it really was, honestly. We find some coal and some more moss. Nothing too crazy, but it's still a win. But then we find ourselves an ocean ruin, and we decided to check it out, and it has a fairly okay fishing rod that might give us, I don't know, maybe a nice little book or something, or even a cool bow. So I'll call that a win if it, fishes up something good. Day 11 is actually a pretty important one because this is where we decide to move on to different areas to try to progress through the game since we're not finding any cows. We're looking right now, but guess what? We don't find any. We do find a puppy though, and his other buddy did not want to be our friend. I don't know why. He's rude. And we're going to call this guy Scruffy McMange. And I had the idea that maybe he could help me fight during the night, but it's not nighttime yet, so we spend a couple minutes fishing. Do we get anything cool? No, not at all. Just some fish. But then nighttime comes around. And while I appreciate this guy's effort of trying to help, he does not help at all. Actually, he just kind of gets in my way because I was worried about hitting my puppy. Yeah, well, whatever. On to day 12, just lighting more stuff up and still looking for cows. Oh, it's getting really, really annoying. I'm doing a couple little chores, and then we do a little bit of fishing, and we actually get an okay bow. Is it great? No, but it's okay. We can combine it with something else later. Now, as nighttime comes, we decided we're done dealing with this, at least for right now. We need a break from these guys. So we try, and I mean try, to set up a nether portal. We eventually get it after a whole bunch of annoyances. Oh my god, they're so annoying. Anyways, we get a couple of little piggies and their food, and we're clearing these guys out not just for their food, but we also were hoping that since these are spawn chunks, maybe while we're in the nether, maybe if we reduce the mob cap, maybe it'll spawn a cow. I don't know. I'm hoping. But anyways, we go into the nether, and we are going to try to find ourselves a fortress. The next several days are spent in the nether, and I never in my life thought I would ever say this, but I feel much, much safer here than on my island, at least right now. At least right now. But we gather up a whole bunch of bone meal. Anything we easily come across, we'll come back here for massed harvest later. And we see a bastion. And we say no, not right now. But maybe later. We get ourselves a happy gas and we start looking for a fortress in the opposite direction. Gathering up a few resources as we go. Nothing crazy, but whatever we come across while we're digging. And we finally see a fortress. Unfortunately, it's across a very, very, very dangerous basalt delta. So we strategically and carefully make our way over to it. And well, we do. Now we have to figure out how to get in. Now, we see that one of the crossroads heads over this way, so we try to find ourselves a way in. Now, we're really only looking for blaze rods and nether wart. Additional loot would be cool, but not necessary. But we hear a blaze spawner fire up right below us. So we check it out, and we decided, well, we might as well get our blaze rods. Nothing could ever go wrong, right? We're perfectly fine. So we get to harvesting, and it starts out pretty smooth. But we get overwhelmed pretty quickly, and we end up going through a bunch of armor and shields. It's absolutely ridiculous. They take half my durability away from my armor and break my shield. But whatever, we end up getting about 11 rods. Is that anything fantastic? No, but it will do for some potion brewing and hopefully get us to a stronghold. That's what I'm hoping, as long as a whole bunch of eye enders don't break on us. And then we decide we need a much safer way in to go in and look for nether wart. We go ahead and make a little safe way to get in, and then we decide, you know what, at this point, we just gotta blitz this thing. So we get to running and placing down torches and checking out corridors. Now, most of these are leading to dead ends, which is really, really annoying, but we get lucky pretty quick. Now, while we're doing this, we get attacked by gas, we get attacked by blazes, and we get attacked by wither skeletons pretty much non-stop until we get into the actual fortress. Even into the fortress right here, a wither skeleton drops down and just ambushes us. But whatever, we block him off and just take him out. And we get that glorious, glorious nether wart. Now, we got what we came for, so we're kind of ready just to get out of here, but before we do, we wanted to check the loot chest, hopefully for something of significance. Did we find anything? We got a few things. We find some gold, we find some iron. We were really hoping for maybe an enchanted pickaxe or some diamond armor. We don't find that, but whatever. We do find the armor trim, which is kind of cool, and well, we decided we're ready to go home. Except I'm not trying to traverse this nether fortress, so we're just going to dig our way out. It is significantly safer this way. However, that also means going across the basalt deltas again, which this right here was a little scary. This guy almost knocked me into lava, which I would not have survived. But whatever, we find our path back home and we find our portal and we get out of here. Coming through the portal, we immediately get dive bombed by the bird rats. So we say, no, okay, I'm not dealing with this night. Nope, not at all. We're just going to wait it out. It's almost morning. We'll let those stupid sky turkeys, we'll just let them burn up. All in all, this was a good haul. We got some bones, tons of bone meal. We got another armor trim, which we actually might use. The nether wart is probably the most important, and of course the blaze rods. Well, I guess the blaze rod are more important than the nether wart, but still, both very important. Sadly, our diamond pickaxe is almost broken. I have to find some leather. If I can't get some cows to spawn, I might have to go hoglin hunting. I really don't want to. Because our only other option is to go fight the dragon now and hope for some awesome end loot. Don't really want to do that either. I would really like to have some golden carrots. With days just burning away, we decided for right now, we want to get enough iron to make an anvil. Maybe we can find some decent books as loot and just enchant our stuff that way. At least that's the current hope. Hopefully we find a cow later. We find a cool little cave and we're just frantically looking for as much iron as we can. So we activate speedy mode, clearing out the cave and just getting all the iron that we possibly see within it. And we come out okay, enough to make an anvil. Day 18 and 19, we finally figure out why we're not getting mobs to spawn. It's because I have my render distance set to max, because that's how I usually play. So for whatever reason, it was causing polar bears and stuff to spawn over on the ice spikes. Remember? Mentioned it earlier? Anyways, we end up making that anvil and we combined up our fishing rod and just do a little bit of fishing. And after that, we go with just hunting for mobs. And well, obviously you just saw there, we have a new piggy. Yeah, that's right, new stuff is spawning. And right behind these pillagers, those are chickens. So the hopes of a cow are very, very close. Also, those guys just broke my my helmet, so now I have to waste my diamonds on another one. But whatever, we're feeling really happy now because we know that at some point the cows are coming. Now, with a weird little montage, we are going to fast forward to day 23. So during the day, we are working on a little dock area. That's right, we are starting building, finally. And this dock is going to have a building on top of it that will be a villager trading hall as well as my residence, at least my immediate residence. And during the nighttime, we are just caving for diamonds because we need a lot of diamonds, and not having fortune is really starting to hurt my brain, but I have a feeling that's coming soon. And well, we do a little fishing as well, and we come out pretty good here. We get a very, very good book. On day 23, the most glorious thing that could ever happen in Minecraft finally happens. We find our bovine friends. Now, at first, we're a little sad. We're like, oh no, please tell me there's not just one. So we put them in a pen and we go looking again. And just fighting off some pillagers, no big deal. And we find an entire herd of these guys. Oh, we are so stupidly, ecstatically happy to finally have cows. This took forever. Now, we are so close to a full enchanter, so we can really get our game a-going. However, resources are low. So on day 24 and 25, we focus on growing wheat so we can breed the cows. We focus on harvesting our sugarcane for both books and paper. And then we just add a few more farms. All of this stuff is going to be very important in the future. We end up finding a sheep, and this is the only sheep we have, so we want to keep him safe so we can make beds to get more villagers if we can get a villager in the first place. We breed up more cows, and then we just do a little bit more fishing. The fishing might seem like, dude, why are you wasting your time? But I'm telling you, it's going to help us later. And at the end, we just breed up some more cows. And in between all the chores, we put a little bit of work into our storage area / what will be our villager trading hall in the future. Day 26 was a pretty simple one. It was all about cows and slapping in a floor / roof to our storage / trading hall. Don't worry, in the future this will all make sense, I promise you. Day 27 and 28 are absolutely awesome. Yeah, we breed up our cows one last time, we do a little wood harvesting for later, we go fishing, and the ocean gives us exactly what we need, a looting 3 book. Unfortunately, it also has Bane of Arthropods on it, but it is what it is. It'll do for what we need it to do. Now, that will allow us to get over a stack of leather, which we are absolutely ecstatic about. And after we get done with these cows, we lovingly just go ahead and, just give them some TLC and bring them back up, heal them back up. And then we make another awesome discovery. Yep, that's a zombie villager. Day 28 going into 29, we make some phenomenal advancements, making up a brewing stand, our enchanting table, 15 bookshelves with some books to spare, which is pretty sweet. We start making a little area to actually put our enchanting room. This will actually be a whole storage area plus the enchanter in the future. Right now, it's probably going to be used just to house some villagers, assuming we can get another villager, that is. Anyways, we go ahead and we check our enchantment, and it's offering us Unbreaking 3. We're not sure if we're going to take that yet. We go ahead and get some water bottles and start making up lovely, lovely weakness potions. And luckily, we had just a little bit of gunpowder on us. This little skeleton here tried to ambush us as we were working. It was kind of rude of him, but whatever. We go ahead and carefully remove the baby zombie from the boat, and then we hit this guy with the potion, and then we just make him sizzle. That's right, buddy. Now, after our zombie friend stops shivering, we immediately are excited, and we have to get this guy somewhere safe right away. He is so stupidly important. Yes, and we are going to be rolling him as a farmer, yeah, because it's the only thing we have right now that we can guarantee to get levels and emeralds from. While he's deciding whether he's going to take that composter or not, we just add a couple more blocks to the build. Don't worry, the actual builds are coming up pretty soon. But right now, we're more focused on resources and staying alive and progressing. And we just start rolling this guy until he offers us potatoes and carrots. Why? Because those are the two resources that we have guaranteed on hand. And once he offers it, we lock him in. Leveling up our farmer, we are really hoping for pumpkin trades, because we have pumpkins, we don't have melons. But he's like, nah dude, I'll give you apples. I'm like, I don't want apples. Whatever. We go and check our trap again, and we have another zombie villager, which is awesome, because that means we can roll him as a librarian. But more importantly, we can now breed up more villagers that will most likely get fed to zombies, depending on what I make them. And while we're waiting for this guy to cure, we go ahead and set up a fairly decent sized potato and carrot farm so we can trade for more emeralds and more levels. Now, the farmer himself now is not that much use to us besides the fact that we want his golden carrots. So we level him up a little bit and we get our other villager to a safe space and add a few more blocks into our future building here. Yeah, I know, it's coming slow. Eventually it'll just kind of just take off and we'll have all kinds of buildings. But anyways, we need to get this guy secured and try to get him to be a librarian. Well, whether he likes it or not, that's what's happening. We start rolling our villager, and he taunts us hard with his traits. Silk Touch, Feather Falling 4, Protection 4, but unfortunately we cannot take any of those right now. The only thing we're willing to accept is Unbreaking 3 or Mending. Those are the two we have to have right now, so it's kind of sad because I would have really liked to have some Feather Falling. I'm pretty sure I'm going to die at some point if I don't get Feather Falling. But whatever. We start adding a few blocks to our building here just so we can kind of plan out what we're doing, and just so it feels like we made some type of accomplishment. We had to work during the day anyways, and we figured we'd roll that guy at night. Now, going back to our villager, we roll him again, continuing to taunt us just relentlessly with Thorns 3. I'm one of the few people who actually really do love having thorns on their armor, but he finally gives us Mending for 1 emerald apiece. And we buy them all, like every one of them. Yeah, and we can also buy his bookshelves and, turn those back into books and then sell those books back to him. So that's pretty sweet. Day 32, and we're back to breeding up the cows. Why? Because we need their resources and we need their levels so we can start enchanting. We also trade our books to our librarian here, and, well, his trades, the rest of them, they really suck. Like, really bad. So his uses are kind of limited. But whatever. We make a little corral here where these guys can mingle in, breed us up some baby villagers. So we let them loose and let them do their thing. We also make just a little passageway that only a baby villager can get through. That way we can throw them in a boat and take them somewhere else. So they can make us up more baby villagers. Yeah, Minecraft's a weird game. Like a really weird game. Anyways, it's back to the cows. Day 33 and 34, we do a little bit of work on the starter house, the starter build, just kind of planning out where the walls, the roofs, and how the floor is going to look. Also, as well as trying to get an idea where we want our entrances and our exits to be. Now, back inside, we decide that we want to get all our resources inside our actual house. So we spend a little bit of time doing that, just avoiding the phantoms. They're not that big of a threat if I keep on moving. We breed up some more babies. Why? Because we need them. We need a lot of them. And then we go ahead and get them in boats and get them ready for transport. We also see another zombie villager and roll our boots and get pretty lucky. So we decide to go ahead and just slap Mending on those because they're pretty sweet and we're probably going to keep them. And then we trade up just to heal them. Heading towards day 37, we unlock the golden carrots, which is going to be our main food source from now on. We get this guy a sizzling, and we get our happy gas a hydrating. Will I ever use them? I don't really know, but they're cute, so I don't mind having them around. Now we need enough levels to try an enchantment, so we start messing around with our librarian, and unfortunately, we had to sacrifice a bunch of our cows, but we do get the levels. And let me tell you, our enchantment, we roll a perfect pickaxe. Feeling so lucky after that pickaxe, we decided we want to try again. And let me tell you how lucky we get. We don't. We get an absolutely terrible shovel. And then we made the very bad decision of accepting infinity on our new zombie cured villager. I'm gonna tell you right now, this was a big mistake. I ended up buying like, I don't know, like 9 books from this guy, and spoiler alert, I don't use any of them. Yeah, it's really sad. But whatever, our happy gas kind of cheers us up, and we go ahead and just get him secured for probably never using them ever. Or maybe I will, just for funsies. I don't really know. It's time for a mining montage. Let's go. With our levels from the mine, we roll a terrible pickaxe, and then we level up a terrible villager, unless I want to walk on water. But whatever, at least they'll buy our books from us. We do roll a pretty decent chest plate. We'll just have to throw mending on it so it doesn't break. And then we start working on our walls a little bit. Now, in a little bit here, we'll be changing this to a gradient going from stone all the way to cobble. And it'll look pretty cool. But for right now, we're just setting up the walls so we can get a little stall system set up for our villagers to get them out of the hole. Day 40 is probably the most important day of this entire playthrough. First, we get our villager right here, at least the first of our librarians, in his stall. And we roll an amazing bow. And then we meet our best friend. Oh, yes. We are calling this guy Sir Hissington. And he is amazing at his job. And for whatever reason, the creepers blew up again. I am really not understanding why these creepers just keep randomly blowing up. It's kind of annoying, though. But whatever. And this kitty cat does his job well. We take our 2 new villagers and we lead them outside so they can become a zombie snack, at least temporarily, because we need the best deals as possible right now because we are not loaded on emeralds. And since we have our guard kitty protecting us, we can finally work during the nighttime. Oh, it's so glorious. And our friends get snacked on, but we'll cure them in a second. With Sir Hissington diligently at work, these stupid annoying ghost hawks are no longer a threat to us. But anyways, we cure up our villagers, and let me tell you, this one right here, he is an absolute superstar. That one, he's a disappointment, like a big-time disappointment. But anyways, back to our superstar. He gives us Respiration 3, Aqua Affinity, a Sweeping Edge 2 that can easily be combined up for a 3. And then, oh yes, Efficiency 4. He's a good one. We roll a couple terrible swords, and I mean terrible. What is my luck? Like my enchanting luck is not great. Now, our other villager does give us Fortune 3, but that is it. Days 44 and 45 start out with another terrible enchantment on a shovel. So we decide, you know what? We've been so focused on preparing for in-game and whatnot that let's just take a couple days and do a little bit of choring, a little bit of chilling. So with our kitty cat, we chop down a couple big trees that we grew up and we start planning our roof. Actually working on our roof, not just planning it. And we're going with a spruce trim and then mostly deep slate for the rest of it. Now, here in a second, we make even another awesome discovery. As we were doing this, we saw this wandering trader, and he has dark oak, and you know we got it. Thanks to our ferocious feline friend, we can finally put the roof on this building. Now, as far as the details like windows and things like that, we're not doing that just yet because we are lacking some resources, specifically campfires and copper. Now, we are eager to go slap ourselves a dragon around, but first I want to accomplish a little bit around the base, so we had a little simple staircase. It'll be a lot grander later. I really want to have shulkers before I really get to building, and we just go ahead and just mine up some resources. Why? Because that's what I decided to do at the time. I don't really have a plan. Day 49, we're just doing a few chores before we go fight this dragon. We roll a pretty decent sword. It's not bad at all. It's actually pretty good. And then me and H-Dog, we just hang out, just vibing, just doing a little bit of farming, like a dude and his kitty cat do. Yeah, we had a good time. It was pretty cool. I like my kitty cat. We roll a pretty terrible pair of leggings, but whatever, they were better than the ones we had, and we needed more levels, so we traded with our librarians, and we decided we were going to try again for another terrible pickaxe. What the crap? Anyways, our villagers are ready to be eaten, so we take them outside and we sacrifice all the piggies to Herobrine. Yeah, in the name of Herobrine. And the cows too. And the cows too. Now, we rolled another sword, and we decided at this point, we're wasting our time. So we just start combining up all our swords. Yeah, because we rolled like freaking 60 of them, and we end up with a pretty good sword. There's still a few things we have to grab before we can go fight this dragon and take on the end. So we put our zombified villagers in a little box and we head down into the caves. Why? Because we need gunpowder and hopefully some ender pearls. So yeah, we go creeper hunting. Now, do we find any endermen? No, like that was a little hopeful. However, we do end up finding a few things. We find a zombie spawner, which would have been awesome to have like 40 days ago. It pretty much serves us no point right now. No, not at this point in the game. But whatever. We take these guys on, and it does have a few pieces of gunpowder, so I'm still going to call it a win. Now, I would have liked to have made a creeper farm, but I still only have the one kitty, and there's just no point in making one now. Like, at all. I can't AFK it. I don't have enough time. Anyways, we get ourselves a little bit of gunpowder, and then we get yeeted off a freaking cliff by a skeleton. And we seriously, for a second there, thought that was going to be the end. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. No. Anyways. Continuing on with day 54, we just start digging because we reached the end of the cave that we were working with, and we find ourselves a creeper, a geode, and a trial chamber all in the same place. Yes, we'll definitely be back here later, so we just mark the coordinates and head out because we're going to need those decorative blocks, but it's not main priority right now. We end up exiting out of the ocean and we mark it with a little pillar. It's actually right off the side of our island, so that's pretty sweet. Right there, though, there's another little cave. We check it out, and there's another creeper. That gives us, I believe, 18 gunpowder, which is plenty for our end adventure, so we head into the nether. Day 55 through 59 is spent in the nether just hunting for pearls. We find a nether waste, and we're hoping just to see a couple endermen and get really lucky with looting. Now, we find one single enderman. Yeah, there's no more. We spend quite a bit of time here. We get attacked by some ghast and some piglins with no luck. We end up putting on some armor and just trading with the piglins, and we get 0 pearls, like none. And then this little baby just starts stealing all my gold. It was really annoying. So we decided, okay, we're just going to travel and traverse the very scary terrain of our very, very bad nether seed. I don't like it. We end up finding a warped forest, and eventually we get our pearls. And now these guys right here, for some reason, it took a lot of work to get them to actually teleport up to my platform. They wanted to teleport below me, and it was so stupidly annoying. But we come out pretty good on pearls. Well, that was really annoying, but we have 21 pearls now, so we should have enough to do this Ender Dragon fight. Problem is, home's like 700 blocks that way, through all this. So that's going to be fun. Turns out getting back home wasn't all that hard at all. It was actually much easier than getting to the warp forest in the first place. We stunt on a skeleton, we see another bastion, and we say, nope, not even happening. Probably not even this playthrough at all. There's just no point. Anyways, we get back home and we're ready to go fight ourselves a dragon. But super duper quick, before we do that, we add efficiency 5 and mending to our pickaxe. It'll make pillaring in the end much easier. We throw our first Eye of Ender, and it goes right into our trading hall. We expected it to go over the ocean, honestly, and I guess technically it still will because we're on an island. Anyways, we head east until we find a bit of land. And, well, you guessed it, we throw another pearl, and it takes us right to our stronghold. Now, this stronghold is a really funky one. Like, it's interconnected with a mine shaft, and it's all broken up. But we end up finding the book room, the library, and we get as much as we can carry. And then we go ahead and light up the portal. We forgot our ender chest, so our inventory is kind of whack right now, but we just kind of sort it out and get ready to jump through the portal. Weirdly into lava, but not burning. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Anyways, let's go take care of this dragon. I got the perfect audio track to do it too. So, yeah, let's get fighting. I'll be back in a minute. That went pretty smooth. We got lots of levels. However, I'm not going home yet. I stashed all my unnecessary stuff in this chest here. We need to go get some shulkers and an elytra. It was an accident, bro. Chill. Day 63, we have ourselves a dead ender dragon, but we still need to go to the end and try to find ourselves a city, so we carefully bridge ourselves up, and we accidentally look at this enderman, and I had forgotten to eat, and I did not have time to stop and eat, so we run, and then we have no choice but just to pearl away. That could have got really dangerous really quick, because they attack faster than I can heal with the carrots. But anyways, we take this guy out, and we jump ourselves through the portal, and what do we find? Well, with max render distance, I don't see anything. That's mostly mainland. That way, I guess? We find a whole lot of nothing for quite a while. Much like our nether spawn, our end spawn also kinda sucks. But whatever, it's not that big of a deal. We get to running and more running, and we end up having to travel thousands of blocks, or I think roughly around like 1,500 blocks before we spot anything. But we eventually do. We pearl over to this mainland here and just get on moving again in doing some more bridging. And then we finally see something. Alright, well, it's a pretty large end city, which means it's going to have some good loot and an ender chest. I don't see a ship, though. I take that back. It does have a ship. Alright. Okay, let's do this so we can get home and burn these levels and get to building. Now, if I already had an Elytra, I would have flown up to the top and attacked this city from the top and worked my way down. But we don't, so we're starting at the bottom. Now, a little fun fact about me, one of my favorite things to do is to fight in cities. It used to really annoy me, and I think it annoys a lot of people. However, there's just something about when you have like 50 spitballs coming at you and you just like dodge all of them. It's awesome. Makes you feel like you're in the Matrix or something. But anyways, we come out pretty decent on Shulker shells. However, I'll tell you right now, our actual loot, not the greatest. Not the greatest at all, actually. But whatever. We're not really here for the loot anyways. With the levels we got from the dragon, we should be able to max out just about everything. The wings and the shulkers are what we're here for. And we are not in any danger here. Like at all. After taking out the main city, we pearl over to the boat and just take out more heads and boxes. Minecraft is a very weird game. I know I've said that a bunch of times, but it really is. But it's also an awesome game. Anyways, as we're going through this terrible, terrible loot, besides the Elytra that is, we realized something. We already knew we forgot our ender chest, but it never dawned on us that there's obsidian in the boat, and we have Eyes of Ender, so we can just make a new one, which is pretty cool, because there was no ender chest in the actual city. A little surprising, actually, because it was big enough that I figured it would, like, have one, but it didn't. But whatever, we don't really need it anyways. So we go ahead and slap some mending and unbreaking on our Elytra. And now we are trying to get out of here. We don't need anything else from the end. We want to get home and get to building. And right next to the city is actually an exit portal. I actually barely saw it because I didn't see the beam. I just barely caught the bedrock. But we got pretty lucky there. So we go back to the end island and we grab the dragon egg and we load up all the gear that we stashed here earlier. And, well, then you know what we do. We beat the game. Okay. Back home going into day 67, and we only have a few things to do before we can get to building. So the first thing we did was we burn up all our levels on some really terrible enchantments. This helmet, this sucks. These boots, they also suck. These boots also suck. This helmet, pretty decent. Actually, it's really good. This axe, no bueno. No. And then we realized we don't need to waste levels on a pickaxe because we can make a max silk touch pickaxe just by combining them. These boots right here are actually pretty sweet, having feather falling 4, which we really need. So we decide we're done with enchanting. We're just going to use all our levels and combine up all the gear that we currently have. And we end up with some pretty epic armor. We're really only missing, out of all our armor, a few things. And that's Thorn 3, which I usually have on my armor on a longer playthrough. And a couple other things like Swift Sneak, which we just simply cannot go and get. But whatever, our gear is looking pretty good. Now, we only have 2 things to do before we can start finishing up our island, and that is situating our villagers right here and getting ourselves some tough block and some copper at that trial chamber we found earlier. So we bring these guys inside and we're going to roll them as a fisherman and as a farmer. And what we're hoping for is campfires, and we're hoping for pumpkins. Now, do they cooperate with us? No, they don't. Oh, they're pretty much just aesthetic villagers at this point because they don't give us anything we need. But we do get tons of masons, which we will use. Heading into day 70, we only have one thing left to do before we get to building, and that is gathering the resources to, actually build with. But anyways, we head to our trial chamber and we get to digging and we get to work. Now, interesting fact about this trial chamber, it actually has 3 geodes, 3 interconnected into it. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but also kind of cool. We gather up a bit of the calcite, which I don't know if we ever actually will use it, but I'd like to have it in case we need it. Plus, it mines really fast. We gather up a whole bunch of regular tuff that was behind the geode, and then we just get on our grind, just collecting up copper and aged copper. And now, as far as the fighting in here, it was boring. It really sucked. I would have liked to show some really cool fights, maybe in ominous mode, but the entire chamber was nothing but spiders and strays. Both very boring and both 0 threat. Like, no, I won't die. 0 threat. So this is what you get. Now, in my main series, I annihilated an entire trial chamber and eventually ran out of the resources that I mined. But in this playthrough, since we only have less than 30 days left, I think we got enough. So we head on home and we gather up the last few things we need to get to building. And that is gathering up a little bit of granite, and then we need to clear out all the trees that are in our way, as well as the temporary structures, like our zombie trap. Anyways, let's build. Yeah. So me and Sir Hissington get to work, starting off with a little retaining wall and a little path and a tiny little carrot field. Now all up here is going to be all about farming, putting in a little melon patch and a little lime storage area right there. We got the lime terracotta from our villagers. We also got some light gray. And of course we add a little tower right there and a little wrap around ranch style house that comes out pretty cute. Now as far as all these phantoms flying around, my recording mod that allows me to do time lapses, I could have technically turned the rendering for them off. But I chose not to because I wanted you all to see what I had to deal with, what me and my kitty cat had to deal with while we were doing all this. It was quite annoying, but also kind of felt like an accomplishment. Anyways, I'm rambling. We get our farmland done. With our farmhouse feeling complete, we shift our focus over to our animals, so we're building ourselves a little barn. Now, the cows are going to be in the center, and we're going to have two pastures, one on each side of the barn, one for the piggies and one for our singular sheep. And it comes out pretty cool. I don't really have too much regrets about it. And then after that, we just needed to clear out a whole bunch of areas so we can finish the rest of our build, so that's what we do. Next up, we need a spot for our masons, and we're going to be merging their building with our mine entrance. It just kind of makes sense, you know, you get the stuff from the mines, you bring it up, and then the masons do something with it. And ironically, we're using the materials that we got for them to build their own roof, so that kind of worked out. Yeah. Anyways, so we start decorating the area up around it, just adding some pathing, some retaining walls, we add a little bit of a pond, and just kind of make the area come to life a bit more, and it really does. Like a sitcom episode in the 90s, with two siblings fighting over the room, we decided to divide the island. I'll stay over here, pillagers, you stay over there. Now, I really would have liked to use a gradient on all this copper, however, I have no wax, so I can't really do that. So it is what it is. And of course, our portal, it needed to be decorated up, because right now, it's just wood and ugly and gross, and adding a little bit of stone and a frame around it really brought it to life. And then just a little more decorations. Looping all the way around to where it all began, we start just kind of decorating up our starter building. And this is also where we're going to install our useless fisherman. Oh, he's so useless. Why couldn't he just have campfires? It would have made things so much easier. But whatever. The decorations come out pretty cool. And then right here, we need to frame this area out. So we put a little tiniest little bit of a tower on the very end of that wall and just put a bunch of wheat field right here, just for the yellow color pop. At the end of day 100, me and Sir Hissington take a well-deserved nap and then just watch all the birdies burn in the sky. We give ourselves one extra day just to finish up all the little leftovers, the trees, the pathing, anything we left undone. And, well, it comes together pretty nicely. 102 days survived, and the island, it feels like home. It does. It actually makes me kind of want to do more on it. And I probably would have done more on it if we hadn't had such a rough start at the beginning. Oh, it took forever to get cows and a kitty cat. I wasn't even planning on the kitty cat, but when he showed up, he was immediately my best friend. Anyways, I got other hardcore series to go do. So that's about all we had for this one. I hope everybody out there enjoyed it. But before we go, let's just take a quick cinematic view of the island. If you made it this far, I hope you had a blast. I had so much fun doing this. Yes, I did. Now, I generally don't like to ask for subs or likes or anything like that as a policy. This video did, however, take 60 plus hours to produce. So if you enjoyed it, maybe drop a like or check out my other series. Yeah, and if not, that's cool too. I'm just glad you were here and I hope you had fun. Peace, dudes.